We've got them in the courtroom. Let's help you before it gets to the courtroom.
The Weekly Friedman, your source for the most essential information in the default industry. With your host, Adam Friedman.
I'm joined today by Friedman Vartolo, Director of Client Relations, Michael Chisholm. Mike, how's it going?
Pretty good, Adam.
First time on the Weekly Friedman. You excited?
Yeah, very excited.
Mike's been with the firm a number of years, but he also has a pretty serious and expansive servicer background. And Mike, what I kind of want to get into today, I get the question a lot from people that watch the video, whether it's friends or employees of the firm, people kind of outside the industry or a little bit less experienced in the industry. And what they focus on is, you talk about law a lot, obviously, because we're attorneys and we're a law firm. Our clients primarily are loan servicers and investors buying mortgage debt. Our videos are focused on them. And they wonder, if they hire you as a law firm, why do loan servicers, specifically loan servicers, why are they so concerned with the law? Don't they hire an attorney or a firm to handle the law for them? What's the reason this is so important?
When we say even understand the law, it's two different things. It's about the law in the courtroom and the legislative environment around the law. Our clients trust us to obviously prepare documents and go in court and argue correctly. But we also do a lot of assistance for our clients in the realm of tracking legislation. And that's important because servicers, and any servicers watching this right now will probably nod in agreement, servicers don't have the biggest teams in foreclosures, teams that are specialized and very experienced in processes and understanding the law, not just in one state like us or in 6 states like us and our teams. You're talking about all 50 states. You're talking about every territory. When I was at my last servicer, foreign countries. So it's really a big service for us to go out and provide to them context around what's changing in the environment, changes in laws, legislation, statutes, case law, because it's a lot to keep up with across the entire country.
Yeah, I think what's interesting too, right, is you're hiring an attorney to do things for you, to practice the law for you. It doesn't mean that you've totally de-risked the situation. An attorney that you're working with, if they're less experienced and they don't know the law that well or they're not following the changes as carefully as we do, they can make a mistake. And when that lawsuit comes out, it's the servicer or the bank being sued. It's not necessarily just the law firm. The law firm might be included, right? But that doesn't mean that the servicer or the bank is totally de-risked.
And that's a great point. So when we're talking about that, where we're trying to provide the best service to our clients is we've got them in the courtroom. Let's help you before it gets to the courtroom. So when there's changes in how notices have to be sent or how you can even default somebody, those are changes that are upstream that might not even be thought about by a lot of law firms. But for us, we're trying to help our client at day 30 of default or planning their compliance and strategy risks prior to default. And I think there's a lot of law that happens in those areas, not really at the foreclosure point, like FAPA and Community Wealth Preservation Act. Those are kind of unicorns. You have a lot of stuff that goes on that's just regulatory around default, pre-default, and how you're handling servicing of those loans.
Going back a number of years when I first met you, you were a client, you were not at the firm. Many of our phone calls would be about changes of law or like different emerging issues in different states. And I talk a lot, as everybody knows. So those were longer conversations. But were you having those all day? Were you talking to different attorneys in different states, multiple attorneys in different states? Like how often were you engaged on that level?
Yeah, I mean, obviously New York, you had a lot more going on in 2019, 2020, 2021. It was Florida. It was states in the Midwest, California almost every other week. So yeah, I mean, it's a consistent flow of information to servicers. You've got a lot of people trying to get your attention on very, undigestible big things. And so it's really key to have partners who can help you narrow in on what's important about the change in this statute, the change in this case law, so that you can bring that information in a constructive way back to the rest of the servicing companies.
I think it's interesting to think about if you're not in the industry and you don't work at a loan servicer and all this is foreign to you, I think it would be surprising to a lot of people to realize like how much infrastructure goes into just doing your best to follow the law. That's part of the reason why we do this, right? It's complex. Things are always changing. And there's a lot of laws and regulation and case law coming out. Sometimes it can conflict. It's not always perfect.
Yeah.
And I do think it's interesting for someone outside the industry to really hear that because I think most people assume it's a bank. They simplify it, right? It's a bank sending a letter for money.
Yeah.
And it's way deeper than that.
It's very much deeper. And, one thing that we're really excited about right now is we've already had a really robust tracking of legislative changes, changes in law, case law, statutes, regulations at the state level and the federal level. We're really organizing that a lot more this year. In my new role as client relations director, we're really focusing on how we can provide expansive services to our clients. And one of those is going to be rolling out what I think is a really cool digest, but I'm a nerd about this stuff, but really cool digest tracking the activity on bills, because just because a law is submitted, I think this year we're tracking 165 pieces of legislation about that were submitted in 6 states, right? Those aren't all going to be passed. They're not all going to be enacted. So a big thing is not crying wolf too. So as we work with our clients, it's about helping them time appropriately. When should I be worried about this? And we're not just talking about FAPA. There's a lot of things, landlord-tenant laws, that might come into play. Changes in tax rates and how you notarize and register documents. All this stuff we want to keep our clients aware of so that we can provide them that leading edge in navigating the complexities of all 50 states they're in.
Thanks, Mike. This was great. I mean, really, I think that you're one of the best at this. I think understanding not only how the laws are moving, but really how it impacts multiple levels, the law firm, the foreclosure matter, or just the litigated matter, then the servicer, then the investor. There's a lot of nuance to it. And I think it's definitely like a really strong aspect of what you bring to the firm. And I'm really excited to see how this continues to evolve.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to the next Weekly Friedman.
There'll be more. Thanks for tuning in to the Weekly Friedman, your source, the most essential information in the default industry. Looking forward to seeing you next time.